Hey, so good morning, and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know who I am, my name is Taniam. I'm a food and beverage and portrait photographer based in Philadelphia. This YouTube channel is just for me having fun and practicing my video work, and hopefully, you know, evolve my image business to be stills and video. So, I used to be a complete Fuji user, like the X-T3 I had, the XH2, XH2S, the GFX50S, GFX100S. Now I primarily just shoot with Canon and Sony. The Sony is just the FX3. So I traded in the 100S and the 110, which was my remaining parts of my Fuji setup, to Alan's camera. And I won't say I don't have regrets, because I love that camera. I worked my ass off to be able to afford it, and I had the 110, which is what I believe to be one of the best lenses produced by any manufacturer. It just creates such crispy images. The colors and tones were immaculate, especially on the GFX medium format sensor. I still feel like the colors from the Fuji is way better than pretty much every brand out there. So I do regret trading that in. The reason why I did so is because it pretty much sat in my storage box. Not storage box. My think tank roller for a year since I got the R52. The R52 has been picking up all the slack of all the work. Excuse me. For all of my work, just using the R52, my lenses, my 35, 28, 50mm, and 85. And now 24-70 and the 100 macro. So yeah, I traded the last of my Fuji setup for a zoom lens and the macro. The macro I could definitely understand, but I have not used a zoom lens in like 10-12 years. I think the last time I used it was when I was first started shooting weddings, was when I first used zoom lenses. And then after I worked with my friend Pat Fury, I just stayed with primes since then. So I can't just talk about it, so I gotta show it. So the R52 with the 24-70, it's kind of hefty lens, but it zooms. Woo! I'm gonna keep it locked. It's heavy. I tried vlogging with it the other day, but with one hand I was like, ooh. I could definitely feel it on my forearms, and I'm pretty sure the camera will slip if I held it long enough. In the macro. So yeah, the real reason why I went with the 24-70 was not only because it will make my work a little more seamless because I don't have to change lenses so much, but this is primarily for video, because you know I'm still novice with video work. I noticed one of the last shoot I did with a video, I wanted to change lenses, but things just kept happening. With photos, it's easier to slap it on and just compose and really fastly compose and shoot. With video, I do that. I do introduce motion because I'm moving the camera, and that will make the camera jerk and move. And that's not good. So I figured, you know what? Especially for video, I'll just get a zoom. I was definitely thinking about the 28-70 f2, because when I take the 24-70 to the bars, because you know I shoot a lot in bars, it's dark, and having extra stops light is important. But not only is the 28-70 f2 wildly expensive, it's heavy, There's no IAT, no image stabilization, and the filter thread size is like 92, which adds into the cost. So I'm like, that's not as beautiful as that lens is. In terms of functionality with what I need to do, I better off just get the 24-70 because it has image stabilization. And honestly, I feel like the look of the 24-70s, regardless of brand, is very, I would say, same. There's no like magic sauce or anything to it, but it does get the job done. That's why I got it. It gets the job done. So my primes are not going anywhere. I'm still planning to shoot, at least with photos, primarily just with primes. If I have to, I would use the 24-70 for stills, but for video, it's got to be with the 24-70 and other things because of the image stabilization. I haven't tested whether or not there's dramatic or very noticeable focus breathing, but at least from the YouTube, there isn't any focus breathing. I do wonder if Canon's going to bring out a VCM version of it, and if they do, and depending on how light, if it's a much lighter lens, but I might consider dropping it and going for the VCM, because with the 35 and 50, they're relatively light and they're wickedly sharp and fast for video. I'm noticing some focus loss, but I just changed my settings to have be much more sticky instead of be more responsive, I think. But I think that should fix my tracking issue with autofocus. So yeah, I did want the 28-70, but I went with the 24-70 because it was just more versatile. But this leads me to my next reason, is because I'm planning to pick up the C80. So by that time, I'm hoping it's not going to cost too much because of the price increase coming in June. And because the C80 does not have IBIS, having lenses with IBIS, image stabilization, becomes much more important. I mean, if on a tripod or gimbal, it doesn't really matter because you're on stabilization. But if you're hand holding, it's kind of important. Kind of is more like it's very important. So at that time, I will trade the rest of my Sony set to go for it. I want to have like a more seamless workflow, and jumping between Sony and Canon has been not so fun. I mean, the only lenses I use for the Sony is pretty much my Cine lenses, which works on my Canons too. But in post, going through with editing both Sony and Canon footage gets a little complicated. Mostly because it's Rec 709 LUTs are just slightly different, and just have to edit the tones to try to be much more seamless is not so fun. And being a novice, I think still a novice video editor, that makes it much harder to do the work, is because I am editing two different log footage. So yeah, that's why I'm probably going to offload the Sony FX3 to get the C80. But I do love the FX3. It still creates beautiful images. Its low light is amazing for bars, with its high ISO tolerance, and it's very portable. I don't like having to use the audio handle. I still do not like the menus of Sony, and no internal ND. Like, if the FX3 Mark II had internal NDs, this decision would be a little harder. But yeah, I am gonna basically move my set back to Canon when that happens. All these dumb notifications. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure I'm totally focused, but that's okay. I'm using my Tilta Nano. My iPad, that's my monitor, is off on my shooting table on my left, and I know I should get an iPad stand holder and put it right next to the camera so I can see, instead of looking to the side to see whether I'm in focus, and just have it right next to my camera. Yeah, I should do that. I should pick that up too. I finally got the DJI LiDAR to work with my lenses without it being too shaky. But honestly, I'm just practicing focus pulling on my own. Anyway, I'm gonna edit this video, this talking head part, and see how this looks.